Blue Noses, 3 Blue Boys here after our 1-0 victory at home to Swansea City, getting 3 points in the bag after 2 very difficult games and obviously bad results and bad performances in general. So very, very positive today. We were very, very good, kind of reminiscent of how we played against Ipswich and Oxford obviously, and I think the strong suit for us this season will be at home games as we'd expect, but we played against a very in-form Swansea side today, obviously won in the week, beat Forest in the Cup. Limited them to very little today, particularly in the second half. I think six shots on target, get my words right, and I think 18 shots in total, wasn't it? So we had a lot of penetration today and a lot of effective football, and I think really we probably could have scored more than one. But it was back on track, wasn't it, today for today's game? So
yeah, it was. Well, it was even 5 better than 18. We did 23 shots on target with 23 shots on goal.
With 23 shots on target.
Yeah, I did say that before, didn't we?
Yeah,
before we started,
right.
Actually, didn't we? Yeah. Wouldn't be much room for complaining there, would there? Really?
Yeah.
You'd be worried about the opposition at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, 23 shots on goal with 6 on target today.
Yeah.
So much better than what we've come to expect lately in the last, like you say, couple of poor results, couple of poor performances. But what a way to turn it around today.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just a case of the result, was it?
No.
I know we talked about predictions before. You went with 0-0.
Yeah.
Dad went with 1-1. I went with 1-0.
No,
so
I was the same.
you were the
as
same as Joe, were you?
Yeah.
I thought one of you had said 1-1.
No.
Maybe you didn't then. So 1-0, obviously win for the Blues, but it was the nature of the performance as well.
Yeah.
It was better going for it. Was positive. We were creative. We weren't afraid to play the long ball and not trying to always pay it out from the back, as it were.
Yeah.
So, and we were going to be against a high possession side, like we talked about in our last podcast video. That Swansea were going to try and play that way, and I think Chris Davis alluded to it in his post-match interview as well on the Blues YouTube channel, that we played over their block as well.
Yeah.
And this is what we talked about, didn't we, in the last podcast video? It's this pragmatism we've got to have. We've got to play the opposition and maybe not be so committed to playing our way that we want to play, playing out for the back in the high possession and using the high press up front. It's offered us something different, a different dimension. We've got the players that are capable of coming out wide, crossing the ball in, players meeting it in the middle, and also playing through teams as well, and getting teams on the break maybe as well. And it's proved given today because we picked up the victory as well. But great to be back to winning ways, isn't it?
Yeah. I want to say a big shout out to Chris Davis for
agreed.
his adaptation, for his pragmatism about the way that we played today. I mean, as you said, Danny, this kind of playing over the block. Now, what Swansea are very good at, from what I've seen kind of before we played them, is high energy, pressing people, closing down. And if you're aware of that, then you're not going to keep playing out from the back all the time.
No, you're not.
It's going to be counterproductive. We're going to get penned in our own half like we did for the first 20 minutes against Stoke, and that's going to have bad results. So I think we were pragmatic today, and I'll take my hat off to him for that. It was what we were all hoping for. We talked about this at the end of last week's game against Stoke and in the pre-match for this one, and it happened. So that's great. It's nice to know that the manager's seeing what we're seeing and prepared to do something about it. Some shout outs for players, individual players. Jack Robinson, brilliant today.
Fantastic today.
Organised, back in. I mean, I love the fact that, when Ronald O went down in the box, when he was feigning his little foul, that Robbo was in his face.
He was,
kind of giving it all of that. And I thought you need that leadership and that kind of, that attitude to be able to kind of, get opposition players, get your own team up for it,
Yeah, I think you do.
And some very nice touches, I think, as well, and showing what his potential is from Marvin Deutsch as well.
very good today.
Laying the ball off, bringing people into play, shielding it. I think he's got a bit of work to do with his heading. He
had this thing about it, when it was punted long, he would kind of sit behind the centre half here. And then he was kind of hoping the centre half would maybe not control it or head it out, and then he would pick up on it. I don't know what that plan was, but it kind of worked where he was basically playing as the 9 to hold it up, which in turn then you've got the wingers who run off him, and that's exactly what we did today with crosses into the box. And obviously, absolute massive shout out to Lyndon Dykes, the absolute man from the land down under. He just coming up with the goods again, coming on. Getting the fucking win, it was absolute limbs on it. It was unbelievable, man. It was so good. And it was that I was saying to you, Dad, when it was celebrating almost like in a weird way in relief, because we finally scored a goal. We've had these shots on target. We already know we've played really well, but just to go and win the game against an informed Swansea was just icing on the cake, really, to get 3 points.
I think that's how exactly I'd describe it, Joe, to be fair, as you described it there. It's that relief of we've scored a goal, and it would have been nice that maybe we'd come away from that game with the win, which thankfully we did in the end.
Yeah.
But I was kind of thinking around sort of the 80-minute mark. I was thinking, right, we're really playing well now. Swansea aren't offering us very much, particularly with them going forward, as it were. And I thought, if we come away with this as a draw, I'd almost be happy about this because we've played better. We've been creative more going forward. We've offered shots on target. We've looked a better and different team. Yeah. But then, of course, it's just icing on the cake, like you say, isn't it, Joe? Just to get the win, and obviously in the 94th minute with 9 minutes to go, particularly when they came with the 9 minutes to go. And I think we kind of expected that, didn't we? The amount of injuries, the amount of stoppages in play as well.
It was very much kind of.
Well, you were exactly, and I think at that point in time as well, did you notice Swansea changed how they were doing things a little bit? They were going for breaking up play rather than trying to play out and getting forward because the crowd were behind them when the 9 minutes came up for the added minute of time for the fourth official, and they were trying to stop things from happening because they knew potentially what would happen.
I think they got tired because of that midweek game. That midweek game took a lot of them. I think it's a 3-2 scoreline against the Premier League side. Galbraith played the full 90 today, and I think there was 2 or 3 others as well, particularly in the attacking line that played the exact same. So that took it out of them, and our crowd got behind the boys on the pitch. And in the last 10, we were saying, weren't we, after the game, like, it was only going to go one way as far as who was going to win it, and it was us. So I think, and I was just saying there about the 12th man. Referee today was fucking trigger happy with his cards. When every single, you know, like you were saying, Dan, when you were watching on TV, like just every fucking 5 seconds, did just not letting the game flow at all, and just everything was a booking.
Yeah.
Like first or second offence for things, and it's like that wouldn't normally be a booking, but everyone, I think he must have given out at least 10 cards today.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I would say that was the number,
Well, it was 9 actually, so that was a pretty good guess actually.
And it was equal across both teams. I mean, they picked up more yellows in the second half, I think.
Yeah, they did.
First half, I would say, I said to you, didn't I? It was a very good game of football.
Yeah.
End to end, both teams going for it. It was good to see. I'm not sure it was what I expected. I expected a bit more of a kind of a cagey chess game, but I think maybe because of our change of tactics, it mixed it up a little bit more, which was nice to see. Second half, they did tire, and it does come down to Wednesday a little bit, but I think we made them chase the ball a little bit more. I mean, possession was 50-50, but I think we were more up for it second half in terms of, you know, getting at them. I don't really understand how Alan Sheehan in his post-match comments was suggesting they were the better team. No. I didn't see that, not across overall. 90 minutes.
Not overall.
First half, maybe I could debate it. And he was also saying about the momentum has been broken up, and that didn't help them. Well, it certainly wasn't us that was doing that.
No,
you know, okay,
no, it wasn't.
you know, Ryan Allsop did that thing, didn't he? Like, you know, where you kind of just go down and you have a bit of a team talk. But a lot of it was down to things that were happening in fouls, but also things that they were creating themselves.
He was naive to think or even say that. It's football, mate. Every team does it.
Yeah,
Every single team does it, and it's to your advantage.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't say anything when your players were fucking, you know, every 5 seconds, oh, my head, oh, suddenly it's my knee, or it's my... Fucking make your mind up. And players that get back on the pitch when they're injured, when they've gone off it. So, swings and roundabouts, isn't it, for that?
It is very much like
that.
It
is, and I think really just to touch on Swansea as well, like you say, for the whole 90 minutes, there was very much periods where, particularly in the second half, where they weren't the better side. And like you said, it was end-to-end the first half, and really maybe from 2 high possession-based teams that we didn't come to expect, but like you say, our pragmatism and playing through the block, as Chris Davis had mentioned, changed the game, didn't it, and opened it up more. But I know there's been a little bit of talk about the offside goal given the disallowed in the first half for Swansea City. The angle I saw it, because of course it was just you two of you at the game today, and because of commitments from my wife today, I was on childcare duty today, so I was watching the game with my son at home on Sky Sports, and even there, looking at the offside, and even the commentary team mentioned it, because of the angle wasn't exactly in keep with the linesman, you couldn't clearly see, but even from my perspective, it was tight. I mean, you're going to take it, aren't you? Because it's a goal against Blues, so of course you're going to side with the linesman in that one. But I think overall, to be fair, like you say, Alan Sheehan's comments really aren't really warranted because they weren't the better team overall. We were causing far more problems for them than they were for us.
I have sympathy with them because when that happens to you, it's not nice, and I don't like referees and officials making bad calls like that, and maybe in the world with VAR that would have gone their way.
Maybe.
And at that point they were a little bit in the ascendancy as well.
They were.
They were getting some better chances, and we were still trying to find our way. So I can understand why they'd be miffed about that. It'll happen to us at some point. You know, arguably the Ipswich penalty.
See, the thing is that wasn't given, and maybe it should have been. But at the same time, they had Vipotnik had a lot of chances today, and he didn't put them away.
Yeah, he did.
He skied one, put one wide, one was saved. you're the informed striker in the league, and you didn't do it today. And on another day he does, and they might win 1-0, it might be 1-1. But we obviously had that bit of quality when we did need it from the cross from Roberts, and then Lyndon Dykes obviously gets the winner. Shout out to Paik as well. He's a bit of a unsung hero, if you will, in the middle. I do think a lot of Blues fans do recognise his qualities, but he had another fantastic game again today. He absolutely is a solid championship player in the centre of midfield, I think, because of his ability to support us in the 2 out wide from the wingers and the fullback. But he's got grit as well. He really has got grit, and I think that in a game like that today, where it is a little bit, in the first half, like you say, Dan, it's back and forth. You need a bit of that to break up play and win the ball back, win it up high, and get us in control of the ball again.
Definitely.
The tackle on Inusa second half,
fantastic.
When he took him out there, and he was kind of scrambling around on the sidelines, suggesting that he'd been fouled. None of that, mate. None of that.
Nah.
The other person that I'd like to give a shout out to for facing up to something that happened where he wasn't good last week is Alex Cochrane.
He
had a good game today.
I thought
he was up against a dangerous winger who scored 3 goals. Created other opportunities in the early part of the game, but in the end, he won over, didn't he? I think he stood up and he showed up, and maybe it'll give some of us a bit more food for thought before we start thinking, oh, he's not the bloke who can play at left back. Clearly, he has got the qualities. I still think there are problems against the genuinely pacey, perhaps muscular winger. So, but give him his credit due today. He did his job and he did it bloody well.
Yeah, I think CD might identify that as and when that happens, though. I mean, the only concern is that it was clearly an issue at Stoke City and he didn't take him out of the game. I'd like to think maybe, in as much as CD is very much sort of a statistics and driven manager, isn't he? That he might recognise that in the future and maybe have somebody like Boz or Laird over there. Probably more Laird than Boz, actually, to be fair. And again, touching on Boz, had another good game today. I thought he did well.
I was saying to Dad at the game, I feel very safe when he's on the ball.
I do.
Even when he's got his back to the winger that's marking him, and even when he's going down the line, I expect him to beat his man, and he does. And there was a good battle on that side. And just thinking about the wings as well, thought Kumas had a better game today. I think he took a bit of time to warm up and try and beat his man, but after 1 or 2 sort of battles on that side, he had his man beat quite a few times and made some good crosses into the box. So that kid had a good game today, didn't he?
Yeah, I was a little bit pessimistic about him when I saw him in the starting lineup. I probably wouldn't have gone about with him there, to be fair, because I know some of the changes we talked about in personnel we'd like to see, and what we talked in our last podcast video about the starting 11 did come to fruition, didn't they? So I was pleased to see that, and that like we've talked about, it's the pragmatism that's starting to come through. And I think we not need to be afraid of playing the opposition. Yes, it's good to have a philosophy, as Chris Davies clearly does. It's possession based, but we need to play what's in front of us a lot of the time, and it's proof today that works, and it's good to see that. I mean, another one as well, when I see him come on, and sometimes as well, maybe I should, but I don't always have a lot of faith in Lyndon Dykes when he comes on, but he come good today, and that was his kind of goal. Hats off to Patrick Roberts, beautiful ball into the box. Really like Patrick Roberts, offers a lot, and as well after the goal as well, he helped in terms of keeping the ball on the deck, moving it around nicely as well, because again, I think Swansea dropped off again a little bit after the goal, because heads down a little bit naturally, as you'd expect, as it were, but I felt we controlled it even then. They didn't really get into the half at all.
Tommy Doyle played a good part in that.
I thought he did as well. He had a good game today as well.
The subs were actually basically perfect today.
They were.
It was
They were
absolutely
brilliant.
spot on. I mean,
spot on.
Roberts to come on and bring you the energy, Kyogo with the press and just dragging central defenders out of position. Doyle came on, a bit of calmness and creation in there. There were some very good subs. Very well timed, because even at the 60 minutes when he was making them, I thought, seemed a little bit early, but obviously it went perfectly to the game plan, didn't it? So
it certainly did.
It did.
Certainly did. There's
Absolutely.
not a lot to pick at in terms of negatives that I can think of anyway. It's like, let's look at it from not only from what Dan said, which is like, if it had been 0-0, you would have said good progress.
We're
moving in the right direction. But to win the game as well now not only kind of gives you confidence that you can play a different way, but it also says, hey, you know what, we can win a different way now. And that's important. We've got a plan B now. We've got it.
So 3 points in the bag. The pragmatism came through, and I think that, naturally we can. I think some parts of the fan base can probably relax a little bit now about CD maybe not having the pragmatism there. We thought it would come good. Just have faith. We're going to have periods again this season. Might be sooner, might be later, where we have a few in a row where we don't do well and performances are dropping off. Just keep the faith. The players are there, the quality's there. You just got to play the right system against the right teams, and today it came good. So,
Yep.
So points are there. Next time will be Coventry away a week today.
Yep.
Another 12:30 kickoff. Shame we can't make that one, but we will be at the fan park watching it, so that'd be good. Pissed at 10:30 again. So next time we come to you guys will be so we're recording on the Monday coming. It'll probably be released on the Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that.
Yeah.
So which will preview the Coventry game. I'm sure we'll discuss some other bits as well. So 3 points in the bag, Blue Noses. So we'll catch you guys next week. So keep right on, and we'll see you all soon.
Keep right on.
Peace out.